That's all right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Evelyn Thoren, and I am your host this morning. My co-host is Cisco Maldonado.
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 Yeah,
I'll get it straight.
good.
I'm sorry. I'm not really that great with pronouncing names.
That
Yeah. Well, I told you last time you were here is that people can't pronounce my last name, and it looks simple. They certainly can't spell it when you say something. Go ahead, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine.
We have Sidney Liang is coming in around the 7 o'clock time frame. Maybe he'll be here early, a Lowell City Councilor, but we've got this first hour. Sometimes I have Glenn come in. I'm very pleased that you're here this morning, so I don't have to sit like I did last week for like 45 minutes till he showed up. Not because that was bad, that he didn't show up at 6, but I'm just saying. I have no problem talking for 2 hours, but I always like to have company.
That's what John
have the
says.
interaction.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be out here. It was a little warmer out there this morning, and it's nice to see the sun come up earlier.
I like that part.
Yeah.
I hate leaving in the dark. Not because, well, we have all kinds of lights and motion sensors and lights coming on as you walk down it's not that. It's just feels kind of strange, leaving in the dark. And it's funny because I've been doing this so long that when it first starts to happen, that it gets darker, and then I'm going, oh, here we go.
Well, it's being an accident reconstructionist. That light change, if you're going from that bright house onto the road right away and driving, it takes a little while for your eyes to adjust. We tend to have accidents at that time because people are literally blind. You know what I mean?
Well,
Driving.
true. And then you notice that if you're headed west, like on 495, or the Pike or something like that, when the sun is setting, or even on side roads, you have to be aware of that because you get blinded as soon as you either come up over a hill or you go around the corner. And yesterday, I drove down from New Hampshire in the late afternoon, which means that it's light later, since it's light earlier. And I couldn't get the visors so that, because I'm going south, so that on my west side, that the light's coming in, so I'm constantly doing this with the visor, and that's not safe either. But
No.
I've driven long enough, and it's the other people on the road too, but I've driven long enough to make sure that, I have plenty of distance, and I'm calculating if perchance I do something stupid, how I can recover. I never really do anything stupid, but I'm always trying to figure it out.
We all do something stupid, trust me. Everyone does it. There's a lot of stupidness.
Right.
No, I bring it out because it's like every morning you hear some motor vehicle accident involving pedestrians, and it just seems frequently now.
Right.
And you, for me, it's like the thing I like telling people is you have more control avoiding an accident as a pedestrian than someone in a vehicle, because time reaction time. People think you could just step in front of a car, it's going to stop.
Well, they do that with trucks on highways, and anyway, they're thinking that if I pull my car in front of it, it's going to stop. It can't. There's a lot of weight behind it. I have a cousin in Texas that drives a truck. I've never asked him who he works for. He's never volunteered, so I figured maybe he doesn't really want to tell me who his employer is. I think one time I did, and he says but it's like UPS or a delivery service. And but the delivery service isn't to residential; it's to companies. So whatever the product is, he's delivering it, and he's with a big truck, and he understands.
What do you say
Obviously,
is a big truck? How many wheels?
it's at least
An
one of the large
18-wheelers.
box. It's either an 18-wheeler or one of the box trucks, the big box
There's a
trucks.
big difference between those two.
I understand that, but he drives both. So, and he alternates back and forth. So he's got, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're a box
You
truck.
never asked him, what's he deliver?
No.
Think of these trucks, they're 50 to 100,000 pounds.
The point is that people pull in front of trucks, and they pull in front of we have a Tahoe, they pull in front of Glenn all the time. And it's like, excuse me, this is a big vehicle. Not that he can't stop. And then you see people and you go, gee, I wonder what video game they watched.
Yeah.
Because they're going back and forth and back and forth.
Well, Tahoe is probably like 10,000 pounds, and the average sedan's 3,500 pounds. So people, there's a big change in momentum there. And I think we got to do a better job educating people and to avoid accidents. Honestly, especially pedestrians. You're not going to win. You're not going to win that.
Glenn said somebody got hit in front of the town offices the other day.
Yeah.
Well, and then just because you step into a crosswalk, there's no magic barrier that goes up either. You've got to make sure that because some people, either they're not paying attention or they can't stop fast enough.
No, exactly. You have to wait for the operator to observe you. If they don't observe you and you step out, let's say you're going 30 miles an hour, 44 feet per second, is what that car is traveling. And it takes, a good person that's paying attention 3/4 of a second to see. Most people take a whole second, a second and a half. You do the math. Most of those vehicles are going to travel 66 feet, before they come to a complete stop. And that's not accounting for the transition of slowing down, because you have to let friction slow the vehicle down. You know what I mean? So that takes more time.
I find a lot of the stuff driving, you can see the inexperience or the lack of consideration of other drivers. And my pet peeve is people don't use blinkers, or if they do, they're immediately in your lane. We were taught that however fast you were going, you had to have that many car lengths between you and the vehicle in front of you so you had time to stop. You can't do that. If you have any space more than a car length, somebody's going to cut right in front of you to be in whatever your lane is, wherever you're traveling.
Oh.
And that's unfortunate. Plus, there's blind spots. That's it's not a stupid thing. I know that several times, I've been driving since I was 16, as legally.
Yeah. Oh.
And that's been a long time. And several times over that time frame, those decades, there's a blind spot. You put a blinker on and you go and you hear somebody beeping at you because you can't see that vehicle no matter what you do. Now, in a van, it's easier because it's almost all glass. But there are blind spots, and people have to realize that. Now, my vehicle now, because I have a 2025, if I put the blinker on and I go left or right, it senses a vehicle and it beeps at me. So it's like I have no excuses if something should happen.
Yeah.
With regard to that. But one of my sons drives to just north of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, every day and back on 495 and 95. And he said it's unbelievable how many accidents are out there, either going north or going south at that time.
No, and I see that all the time. And there has to be some way to prevent or hold people accountable. Guess what? If you take a vehicle and you get in an accident during rush hour, there should be, if it shows that you're not being alert and you're being distracted and you're trying to be on the phone or text or something like that, there should be a higher fine for those, especially because think of how detrimental it's to traffic. Every day during rush hour, some vehicle crashes because things that could be avoided. Like you said, they don't understand the space in between cars that are safe so that you can avoid a collision. And they're always distracted, you know what I mean, and not paying attention. You're already multitasking. Humans aren't meant to be multitasking to the extreme, they really have to concentrate on one task. And they're trying to communicate through the cell phone, read their paper. I've seen people doing makeup. I mean, it's
Eating
insane.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Glenn saw one many times because he used to drive to Boston, to Cambridge for work, different times, different places, over time. Because we're in our mid-70s, and he saw one time that some lady or a guy had a bowl of cereal that was eating cereal as he went. Another time shaving, electric shaver.
I've seen that.
And
I've
I'm
seen it
like-
all. But what I'm saying is, those are the guys or the people that cause a collision during rush hour, and now you have traffic for 20 miles. You know what I mean? It's frustrating for commuters. I thank God I've always had a job close to home. That was
Well,
the
I
most
do a lot of
important
traveling.
thing for me when I started working.
Well, it also saves some wear and tear on your vehicle, and it saves a lot of gas.
Oh, gas.
But going back and forth to New Hampshire, I bought, or Glenn bought, a 2020, I thought it was a 2025, could have been a 2026, Honda Odyssey, last fall. I wanted red. There happened to be one in Westford. We found it. Because usually he says, what vehicle do you want? I go, red. So we go in that direction. But my other Honda Odyssey was a 2008, and it had 257,000 miles on it. But when we were up at the lake, and whatever the angle was, he could see underneath, and he goes, the pipe's hanging from the muffler system. So he patched it, which will hold forever the way he did it. But when he got under there, he saw all the rust, and he had been wanting me to get a new vehicle for years. So this was a good excuse for him. Oh, you're going to need new this, you're going to need new that, and on and on and on. So we ended up with this vehicle. It had 11 miles on it when I drove it off the lot. I now have 13,006 something miles on it, and that's only since last June. So that'll give you an idea on how much I drive back and forth.
No, isn't it pretty good when you can actually go out and say, I'm going to pick a color or a particular vehicle? I mean, knock on wood, whatever, for success. You know what I mean? You work hard. I think that's a good privilege.
Well, one thing's for sure, I'm not turning
you
cars
can't do
over
it all
very
the
fast.
time, but when you get the opportunity and you can
Yeah.
afford it, it's a good feeling.
Yes.
What
Hard
kind of
work,
what kind of
save
rumbling?
money.
Go ahead, finish up. Cisco.
No, just hard work and save money, and those are things that come along down the road.
How much stirring of the town happened with Paul Cullen retiring? Any talk around town? I know it's still winter, people are huddled up in their houses, but
Well, it's on Facebook, and there's
Well-
quite a bit on Facebook. So, and I recognize people's names. And it isn't just Paul that's retiring. The town accountant is
the
retiring as
big
of
deal
June.
is Paul's retiring.
I understand that.
And you can say all the King's Horse and all, but the king is retiring. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and the police chief
The
is
police
retiring.
chief, yeah, I've read the article in the Sun.
Yeah, and then, so there's an article in the Sun. I heard it obviously through Glenn, because he talked to Sam, And the way the article put it is that however the retirement system works, he's not going to make any more money, so he's retiring from Chelmsford. I don't know where he's going. I don't know what he's up to. I know he has kids in college and blah, blah, that thing. So I know he wasn't making a super amount of money.
So if he's in the same retirement as I was, on what happens after you complete your full term of your contract for that retirement, every year after that, they give you a year, but every year after that, that percentage starts working itself down from 80% to like first year is 79.5%, and it keeps going down. So depending on the salary, that could be a lot of money,
Right.
because 1% of 300,000 is a lot of money. It comes to, especially when you retire, you have to think differently. You're on a fixed income, and $3,000,
Oh, that can be big.
that's a big
Right.
amount of money. That's probably your electricity for the year. Was your electricity for your year 5 years ago. Now your electricity is $6,000.
Well, that's if you have electric.
Oh,
It just depends on.
Oh, no, but I mean, there's a lot of
How big
folks
your
out
house
there
is.
where in these big houses that don't have, they're not sealed, they're not insulated very well. I mean, and you see their bills. I mean, lucky what I did, and in my house, I was like, all right, we're going down from 3 refrigerators to 1 refrigerator, and I'm not drinking anymore, and I don't need a beer fridge downstairs. So it killed me to try to squeeze all the beers I had in the little fridge for like 6 months. I'm going down for a couple of beers, even though I don't need them.
Cisco, that just conked out, so put him on his side. He needs new batteries. And go with the new guy. That's good.
Well, let's go back to the city manager. You're from Chelmsford, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk more about that.
Well, now the question is who replaces him. Now he's there until May. According to the charter, he had to give a 60-day notice, and so the select board, since it's their hire, have to determine whether or not the 5 of them are going to be the committee to screen candidates and come up with a process, or are they going to hire somebody?
Let's
Or-
give the job to Sam. Let Sam do it.
Or are they going to have a committee where there's so many of them and so many people from the community be the hiring? Now, when we did the superintendent, not Jay, when we did the first superintendent after I was retired, who had been there like 17 years, we did hire an agency that normally will do that process, and then they do the nationwide search. So we did that, spent that money. That guy was there a couple of years, and then he left. And we had a hire from within, and then when there was some issues, and then he left, then Jay was available. And so it was just the 5 of us on the school
For the
committee.
superintendent of schools, is that Jay
Liang.
Lee? I like Jay. He's a
Oh, yeah, and
his-
he
his
knows a
dad, I
lot.
play golf with him.
Yeah.
Very good on family.
Right. And so when that occurred, okay, then it was just the 5 of us, because we had people calling us from Lowell. I had people calling me from Lowell. They didn't want to be known, and they made, obviously.
Their pitch.
Well, yeah, and because they had visibility,
Yeah.
and they liked Jay, and they didn't like the way that things happened in the system, and they were making their recommendations.
Yeah, no.
And so, like I said, I had phone calls, and I don't know how many other people did, but there were the 5 of us, and that's what we did, and then we negotiated the contract. There's a lot of stories with that. I don't have to go through it on camera. But the select board, it's their hire. And the town accountant is also their hire. So, because the town accountant reports directly to the select board. The police chief is the hire of the town manager, just like the
Yep,
fire
yep.
chief, and among other things, and other appointments. And so I'm making the assumption he will make an appointment for the fire chief before he leaves. I would like to see that happen, to take one thing off the list. So they need to hire an interim, again, part of the town charter. And then it's up to I would assume, I don't think there's any timeline on how long they can have an interim. And some of us have preference on who they should offer that position to, but we'll see what happens. Because we have an election coming up, and we will have, we'll put in quotes, 2 new people on the board again. One of them isn't. There was a 1-year position that was Pat Maloney's position because he has resigned as of the election of April. And there were no opposition for John Curlin. John Curlin had been a member of the Board of Selectmen when it was called that. And so he's just coming back for the 1 year. He had resigned or retired as the town moderator. And there was no opposition for the town moderator, so Lawrence McDonough will take that over. But he has to first be elected, obviously. And so we had no opposition for the 3-year term that was vacated by Aaron, and he's new. So for me, he's an unknown entity. But I heard he was an engineer, and it sounded like if he approaches things as an engineer, things should be okay.
What kind of engineer is he?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Electrical? You don't know? Okay.
I don't know where he works.
Trained?
Glenn would know, and next week,
Mechanical?
if I can get, I don't know, well, he's gonna fall into some category, by profession. But if Glenn comes in next week, or if Sam's with us as co-host next week, we'll go through all of that so everybody knows. But if anybody from Chelmsford is listening, well, you have all the YouTubes for Cut to the Chase. Sam Chase interviewed all the candidates. So all of those YouTubes are out there. If you also have local cable, you'll be able to watch all of those shows and debates. There's a debate tonight at the police station. I think it's hosted by the Democrat and the Republican town committees. And so there is a debate tonight there.
That's
Of all
gonna
the
be on TV.
candidates.
It's gonna be on
Yes, it will
TV.
be on TV, you can watch it. I'm thinking that in the past, they had interaction with the community where you could dial in with questions, but I don't know exactly how that's going to work this evening, because not every year is exactly the same. So we have vacancies as far as town meeting reps go. Town meeting reps, it's not that much of a responsibility. You got maybe 5 meetings a year.
This is the latest and greatest in Europe, Mercedes Hearse for 2027. So that's the look they're gonna go
Looks like a
with.
bug.
That is,
And it's a
it does look
Mercedes.
like a bug. It's a
Does it
Mercedes.
look like a bug?
Let me turn.
Mercedes.
Let me look at that.
And I don't
Oh,
think,
boy. Is it electric? That's the question. Does that have a solar panel on top?
I do not
You
know
want-
as
you-
it's.
You don't want to be that dead person that
It's all written
gets.
in Italian or French over here, so I don't know what the heck.
You don't want to be that
Could be
dead
German.
person that gets hauled away in a car that's on gasoline and not electric. All
I
right.
would guess the resale value on that car in the USA is not gonna be that great.
Oh
But there's a bunch of stuff that's out there. I don't know what you had on your list.
no, I thought that was. I mean, for Chelmsford, that's the hot ticket.
How about Lowell being the best place to live in Massachusetts?
Yeah, there was different articles that came across Google, and there was also commentary on one of them. I don't know if I sent that one to you, John, and it came up, I think, either last week or the week before. I brought it up also, that Travel and Leisure had said that it was one of the #1 places to live, and then it went through other ones in Massachusetts. And part of it is because it's affordable. I find that interesting. But there are areas that it's affordable, and there's a lot of amenities you can walk to, depends on where you live, and opportunities for restaurants, other entertainment. You know what's
I
out
mean,
there.
I would probably think they're looking at on the amount of money you're paying for the items that you want from a city. So if we're located pretty close to Boston, there's plenty of tech and jobs in close proximity
Well, I
to
think
the
the
city.
other questions that go out there too, Cisco, is how long to go and pick up a pizza? 5 minutes?
Yeah,
How long to go to a grocery store? I mean, a real grocery store? 5 minutes?
yeah.
Every Lowellian enjoys that stuff. counties, some will tell you, to get a pizza, it's gonna be 20, 30 minutes. And to go to the Market Basket, it's an event for the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, like where I live up in the Upper Highlands, we have access to the highway, we have access to the movie theater. I used to enjoy, you got restaurants right on the outskirts, we have the supermarket out on the outskirts, we
Yep.
got Target, we got Lowe's. Yeah, so, I mean, you're right, when it comes to commuting to get something you need
Piece
for
of
the
cake.
house, very, very reasonable and easy, yeah.
Well, when we talk about entertainment, in the Boston.com article, it talked about the Lowell Folk Festival. It talked about the Southeast Asian Water Festival, the Lowell Summer Music Series. There's a lot of the Merrimack Repertoire Theater, the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. There's a Whistler House Museum of Art, the Western Avenue Studios. That's all the art stuff and craft things
Yep,
that's out
yep.
there. There's a whole lot of alliances that's there, public markets, the historic mill. I mean, there's a whole list. So if anybody's interesting, it's boston.com, and that was where I read the last article about it. And there were other ones because a couple of weeks ago I talked about Travel and Leisure. So that's a magazine, and that was something that picked up on that. And then it went to some other places, but they were it looked to me with the other places they chose, it was urban communities.
But you know what? We are talking about it, but it's surprising that it hasn't been blown up on social media or even local news by the city. It's they should have taken the marketing advantage of that and gone and spent some money and just blast the news so people are aware that, hey, look, Lowell's a place that you want to think of if you want to move somewhere.
Two comments from the audience. Good morning. Back in the day, we used to drive while looking at the map. With cell phones having GPS, it's the best. I agree. That's from Jay. Next text is, Lowell is okay to live in. I guess whoever wrote the article never visited near Markley.
Every
Alrighty.
city and town has an area that people don't want to live in or don't want to be near. It's kind of like when they used to talk about on the other side of the tracks,
Yep.
which
Well, will you-
dates me.
When you want to hear a Chelmsford swallow their pride, you ask them about the Chelmsford Trailer Park, and they go, oh, I didn't know we had one.
Well, yeah, it's right behind me on 110.
Yep.
I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever did have any problem with it.
There's one in Tingsboro too. There's a few of them.
Is there?
So-
Tingsboro's a trailer park too? I'll have to ask Linda.
Yeah. Is it still there by the river? They have a farm right across. That was there for some time, right on the Merrimack River. I'm not sure if it's still there. I used to go by that all the time.
Don't know.
Well, there's a lot of other stuff that's out there, not necessarily local. Do you have anything else that's local? Now, at the 7 o'clock mark, we also want to talk about Lowell being the place to live with regard to some of the surveys and some of the assessments that they've had on the media, because that's when Lowell kicks in for people in Lowell if they're watching our show. So we want to make sure we talk about that then.
We're celebrating 200 years, right? Right now, is it 250 or 200?
250.
250, 250 years. We're going tonight to go see Lee Bryce over at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. Talk about, a great show. Any show there is great because there's only, 3,000 seats there?
Who are you going
Well,
to
are they
say?
usually full?
Lee
This
who?
is a weeknight.
Well, he's a big country singer, so it's going to be a packed house. We're
that's
looking
nice.
forward to it.
Last name?
Bryce?
Bryce.
Yeah, B-R-I-C-E.
I just wanted to put a picture of him up. I didn't
Lee
hear his last
Bryce. Yeah, he's we like country. I got into country when I was stationed out in California for 4 years, and out in the
I gotta get him
Mojave
on
Desert. We
He doesn't wear a cowboy hat.
I don't know. He has some great songs.
Apparently not.
I don't see.
The wife is ecstatic. That's all that counts.
I don't see
Oh,
one.
let's talk about nails, because I was shocked when I looked at my desk and she put one of her receipts there, and I looked at it. $170 to get your nails done? Is that what it costs now?
Well, I would assume it depends on whose
I don't.
nails.
My
Hers?
wife's nails.
Oh, yours? Oh, no.
What
must
are
have
you
been-
guys paying for nails? No, it's.
Well,
might have looked
obviously
at
I
it.
don't have them, but
It might have been. I had to look twice, and it kept coming back as
You should ask her.
170. I'm not gonna. You think I want to ask my wife? Oh no! John, would you ask your wife? I was like, I bite my tongue.
Once in a while, I'm one of those guys, I notice if a woman does nails, because a lot of women, they don't do their nails. But a lot of them do, and nobody have said, I like your nails, and they go like, thank you, because nobody notices. I think they're pretty.
I purposely don't notice because she gets so mad when she comes back from doing her hair or nails, and I just walk around like, oh, she gets heated. Oh, she is not happy if I don't notice. Oh, I think she's caught on that,
Yeah, you do it on
I
purpose.
do,
This would
yeah.
be the one show she watches in the afternoon.
Or when she walks around like she's on Anderson with a towel on her head, if you can imagine that, pleasing to my eyes, but I'll look from the corner of my eye and I keep my focus on TVs. What you do with your
I'm not talking
significant
about
other?
any of this.
I
some of this
know.
stuff.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's
I'm
not the point. I have stories, but I'm not going to tell them on air.
Well,
Personal stuff.
Well, I mean,
I used to get my
we're
nails done.
human, right? Well,
Oh yeah, I used to
we
get
all-
my nails done because we had all the weddings.
Yeah.
Okay, and the problem is that I bite my fingernails, and I've done that since I was like 2. It's really difficult. That's why I never
Oh,
smoked.
look at my nails. That's what it's.
Yeah, well, mine aren't that bad, but and they were longer, so I know that I can grow them, and I understand why I bite them, and nobody needs to know that analysis. But I did have them done when they had acrylic nails, and it cost about $50. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
About 20 years ago.
Yeah, well,
but it
so
costs
170.
I don't know that it's that much. I mean, I can ask. I'll ask my telephone. It
Yeah.
depends on the salon.
But Evelyn, you're talking about usually a young woman who's going to take a little tiny brush and paint your nails.
No, that's not how this. Not when you have. That's
Now-
a manicure.
Now,
if you have,
you can buy your own little jar of
I can buy
paint
I could buy
and do
those
your
that
own
could-
nails
Yeah.
for the
They could
price of the paint.
The woman that did my nails couldn't figure out how I could bite the acrylic nails. I said, "Give me time." I used to go sometimes midweek just to have her replace one,
Yeah, that's.
and
How
then
about
she was
a
reasonable.
bad taste?
It doesn't matter. My father tried everything to try to keep me from
Even a
biting my
bad
fingernails.
taste doesn't it? Wow.
That was me too.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
nails.
He
Some-
tried painting them with stuff and all this other crap and everything, and I was like, I'll defy you. I can figure this out. But it wasn't on purpose that I would do that. It was just, I understand why. Nobody needs to know my analysis.
You pick up habits when you're very young, and if it's not corrected as a very infant stage, it's just like a dog. We're like any other animal.
Well, it's hard to break it.
Yeah, it's
But for quite a while, I didn't do that, and they were long. And
But that's a good. That's one of the better habits. There's all kinds of other habits that.
Well, it doesn't cost me any money.
Yeah.
But as far as doing nails,
Can
I mean,
you imagine that being cigarettes? You
well, that's why I never.
money.
Well, we had that conversation 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. I never smoked because I knew that once I started, I wouldn't be able to stop it.
Yeah.
And right now, at $10+ a pack, I don't think I could do that. So the way I didn't do it was, I said, I can't. It's like putting dollar. Well, at the time it was like dollar bills. Now it's like
Yeah.
$10 bills.
Yeah.
And you're just burning those bills.
Yes.
And it's not helping your health either. The original. This is.
That's the key then, Ev. For every time you bite your fingernail, you have to put $25 in a jar you can't get back. And that
That's
will
not
stop
gonna
you
work.
dead
At
in
this
your
point,
tracks.
At this
That's
point,
not-
it's
my
not
age
gonna
is
work.
not working.
That'll
it's-
stop you dead in your
I
tracks.
gave up on it too. I'm
Yeah,
like,
well, I have to have a source of financing. Anyway, anyway, as far as the nails go, I can certainly look it up on my phone and find
I'm
out
not
what it
worried.
is.
I just thought we'd throw something in there. I'm looking at the clock.
Oh, I got plenty of. Look at
All right,
this.
let's go. What else you got?
I got a lot of stuff. I
You're-
mean, you want to talk about nails? I can do nails. How about hair? You want me to talk about hair?
I'm going to sit right here.
I have paid almost $200 to have my hair done.
Yeah.
not every month or not every 6 weeks, but depending upon, like if they do what they call a full foil, because there's so much money you pay for every one of those pieces that goes into your hair when we have the foil stuff. And it's the only thing that I really do for myself. I would like to do pedicures because I like that part, and that's at least $50 a piece too. And so I had somebody that did that way back when I was doing my nails, and then you get a foot massage and you get all kinds of stuff. It was really great, but I don't do that anymore. I
You
haven't
gotta
got
treat
found time.
yourself. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with taking care of yourself and treating yourself. You work hard for it, you should have some pleasures.
Right, and I don't even have a budget for clothes because, I mean, if I don't go anyplace, I don't really need much.
Yeah.
So, I can do without that. And some people do shoes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
Unbelievable with shoes.
Oh, I have that
Do you know
problem.
anybody that has a wardrobe of shoes, like a whole closet full?
How about
My
boxes?
mother did.
Still,
I do.
shoes?
I
And,
Yes, and my mother had shoes. When I cleaned out
I
the
love
house, she
my
had shoes she
shoes.
never wore. They were all in boxes stacked.
Is that like pocketbooks? Because I got
And she had pocketbooks
too.
that matched.
Yeah.
I will try on 20 pairs of shoes before I buy them.
Yes, but do you have 20 pairs of shoes in your closet?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I don't.
Here's a personal story. You was talking about that. I'll bring it up. So people are gonna hate me. So one Christmas, I got caught up. I was busy, so I had to think quick for Christmas gifts. I think it was a day before Christmas. So what happens is you get older and you have a bedroom that's not being used. It becomes a closet. So I went into the spare bedroom that's the closet, and I started going through bags and boxes, and I just grabbed the stuff that had tags still on it and wrapped it and gave it back. I gave it to the wife as a Christmas gift.
Did she know?
She knew.
Oh my gosh. That's a
I
funny.
said it's new. Okay, use it. So I didn't realize that there's all these
You
fancy
really
names.
are married to a saint.
Oh
Honest to
yeah,
God.
I love it. She's gonna kill me. There's Kate Spade. There's Michael Kors. There's Gucci. There's
Oh, those are the lower numbers.
those are all.
You've got
Those are the bags there, right?
Right, but you've got Louis Vuitton. You want to
yeah,
talk
we
about
can't afford
thousands of
Louis.
dollars
We
worth
can't
of stuff.
So, but if we could, there'd be a Louis Vuitton
At one
bag.
point, there was somebody that I knew that had the budget for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I went shopping, and we went into Louis Vuitton because she wanted to buy a small bag like the big one that she had for her first granddaughter. And I'm looking at the prices, and which I was aware, and that was before cell phones.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and I'm looking at shoes because they had some gorgeous sandals. And I turned it over, $650. I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. Well, anyway, so obviously I did not buy any. And I used to find sales, but I wasn't a shoe person. One of the reasons I think that as far as the shoes and the clothes go, again, here's the analysis, as to why do you do certain things or don't do them. We talked about, why I didn't smoke was because my thought process. Well, as far as clothes and shoes go, the size of my foot, they do not make a shoe that fits it. And because I'm in between a narrow and an average, so it's it's by letters, so it's like a width A or a width B. Okay, men have the same thing. You have narrow, because my father had a very
No,
small,
men
narrow
have
foot.
regular feet size and wide. That's the two sizes. We don't have A, B, C, and
Well,
D.
it depends on the level of your shoes again. It depends on the cost.
Okay.
And so, but as far as shoes go, there's nowhere I could ever get a shoe after they changed all the sizes, because it was an odd size. They stopped making that shoe size when I probably was maybe 30. And after that point, I had to try every shoe on to see what would fit. And it just doesn't do that. It works for sneakers too. And so I had some shoes. I got rid of all the other shoes because when I had my hips done, you can't wear heels. Or you have to be really careful. Or you have to have a wide heel so that you don't twist, so you screw something else up. So I have to buy a pair of shoes. I have a wedding this year. Because the pair of shoes that I would wear, I've been wearing for 20-something plus years, the dress shoes, because I don't use them that often. I wear them maybe 5 times a year. But I buy one pair of sneakers a year, and I don't remember when I bought the last winter jacket. It's fine.
Yeah, no,
You
the
know,
same-
it's a ski
same in my
jacket,
house,
looks
yeah.
the same as everybody else's ski
Yep.
jacket, and it's easier just to, with certain things to buy, and I've kept some of the, Jones of New York was another brand that you would have along with the Gucci and whatever, but they don't sell those in stores anymore, you have to buy it online, except Dillard's. Dillard's contracted to have them be sold in their stores. I don't know if they still do, because the clientele wanted it. Because Dillard's had all those special brands and all kinds of designers. It used to be fun when I used to go visit my sister in Florida to go
Can
to
you
Dillard's.
still go to Marshall's and get some of those designers at a discount rate?
Yes,
Okay.
and you've got TJ Maxx,
Okay.
and you can go online. You've
I
got
haven't
Amazon. You've got all kinds of places that sell all kinds of things.
I haven't gone to the Marshalls that they have on Bridge Street. You know what I mean?
Well, I haven't gone to very many stores because I don't like to shop for clothes.
yeah.
It's depressing.
No, I don't. I avoid stores too. I mean, unless I need, like, I definitely am in a need for a new pair of sneakers, and I haven't. This has been 2 months. I've been talking about going out to get sneakers.
looks
I
like
haven't made a trip
DSW.
out.
What I want you to do is give yourself a treat. Take it right up to Merrimack, New Hampshire, and go to this Alex, ALEC'' shoe. Unfreaking believable store. Whether you want sneakers, high heels, I don't care what it is.
It'd be interesting to see if they have one
It's
I want.
deserve at least a try. Now, I'm a guy, I would have to wear 20 pairs of shoes. I go up to this store, first pair of shoes the guy gives me is perfect. That's
Oh,
it, give me-
so this is a place where you
you can
find a
get
shoe?
weight on, or you can do everything yourself.
Oh, okay.
Because they have, like on the side, like over here, this is like shoes that come out of the warehouse they only have one size left. So you just see, then you go over here, and they have the beauty shoes over here. Like, you want a nice wingtip, you want a nice sneaker, you go over to this part right here. And it's just, you got nothing to do, it's worth the trip up there. Bud Coffee will turn me out of this store, and fantastic stuff. Alex Shoe up in Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Well, there's also DSW that's in Nashua, but again, you're doing the work. And they have all the sizes already out.
DSW is like Zayas, right?
DSW
They have
is
a
just
wall-
shoes.
We have a wall of shoes, and that's it.
Well, they have aisles of shoes. And the last time I went up there, the men's are on the left and the women's and the kids
Yeah,
are
the
on the
main
right.
outlets are all like that.
And they do have some design, they have designer shoes.
But this thing, you sit down and
And
say,
they're
it's a little
pricey.
tight where my toes are. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, I'll do that. It brings you out a pair of shoes that's just perfect.
Well, anyway, that's shoes. So I don't have that many shoes because.
Well, you said you
I-
need new high heels. So
Yeah,
I'll
let's,
try Alex.
Yeah, I can go there.
let's go shoe shopping. I don't mind
Cisco,
going.
you need new sneakers.
I need new sneakers. Yeah.
That's all right. But anyway, there's a lot of other stuff that's on
Yeah,
this list.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I'm saying, I'm looking at you guys. I'm saying, I got these guys talking about shoes and nails. All right, let's get.
But that's okay.
Let's get serious.
I don't care.
All right.
There's a lot of stuff in terms of the politics that's out there. Usually, we try to make sure that people know that the first thing is there's no monitor here that's already been pre-written for us, and our opinions are our own. They may be somebody else's, but they're not opinions that reflect anything in Drake, Chelmsford, Lowell, Tewksbury, or Tingsboro. So we're reading stuff out there, and I told a lot of people that when I try to pick up on something, I try to look at what the source is. And anything on Facebook, I double or triple check because a lot of stuff other people want to read, but they're not in Facebook. So I need to get links so that people can read what it is I'm reading, so we have discussions. But I thought it was interesting that in one of the states, in one of the correction facilities, there was a drone that dropped knives, drugs, and cell phones inside the prison. I thought that was an interesting
That's
thing,
been
went over
going
the
on for
fence.
some time now.
Right, but this was an article. It was the only
Yeah,
one I
yeah,
picked up
okay.
on. I could have done more research to find out how often it happens. I didn't ask that question. I just thought it was kind of interesting what they're using drones for, as far as that goes. And then drones are the wave of the future as far as warfare goes, because they cost very little in comparison
Yes.
to some of the bombs that's dropped. And there was another thing that there was an article, I don't have it down here, but there was an article as far as what's going on in Iran that, and how true it is, I have no idea, is that when they wonder if the people in Iran that don't want this regime are doing anything. First of all, they don't have any guns.
Yep.
And if they go out into the street, if anybody possibly thinks that they might be out there objecting to something, they get shot or they get thrown into prison or any number of things that we don't have in this country. And yet in this country, people are not protesting the conditions of what's in that country. But they say that some of the people are watching between the blinds and they're sending coordinates. I don't know how they're doing this. I don't know how average citizens would know this. And so the people in the regime that's left in the guard and everything, they're texting where they are, and what Israel's doing is sending a drone in. I mean, they're living in tents wherever they are. In other words, you can't hide.
I have two burning questions from the audience.
What did I cook?
When is that hasn't come up yet. I'm sure he will. I'm sure Jay will put that out there soon. Where is Cisco playing his first round of golf around here if he hasn't already?
And we'll probably end up playing in Puerto Rico on April 2nd.
Okay, and on a different note, favorite candy was in their Easter basket. What's the favorite candy? I said Cadbury egg. If I got a Cadbury egg, I was tickled pink.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I had an Easter basket.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any Easter baskets?
I'm trying to think. When did I last have an Easter basket? When I was 10?
How
Okay,
about
never mind,
Easter
Ev.
candy?
Never mind, you don't want to participate.
No,
Well,
no,
no. Okay, so
I
any
understand.
kind of candy that I would be happy with at the time when I was growing up were M&Ms. Almond Joy bars.
With nuts?
That's
or without?
Oh yeah,
Halloween.
with what?
nuts.
That's Halloween candy.
Well, they also have it for Easter,
Yeah.
and they have it for Christmas.
Yep, they just changed
I
the
didn't mind the
color.
Hershey
no, they
Kisses.
have like little Easter bunnies.
No, I didn't like the
I
marshmallow
never could put
things.
together how an Easter bunny could have an egg.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't like Peeps because they were too sweet.
Oh, Ellen and my sister-in-law Judy love the peeps.
No, I don't like Peeps.
Peeps, I'm not.
I
a
never
big
had
fan.
those. That was the marshmallow thing. I wasn't into marshmallows. And then sometimes you had chocolate on marshmallows, and they were in shapes of things. We sometimes would get the
How about
rabbit
peeps,
in
yay or
chocolate.
nay?
Pardon me?
How about peeps, yay or nay? Two nays over there.
Yeah, 2 nays.
Okay. From the audience, how about peeps? Yeah.
What color?
Ugh, I didn't like them. Well, when we first started, they were only yellow.
Yes.
Now they
yeah.
come in colors.
Yeah, different colors.
And there was, what was the other thing? We used to get the chocolate rabbits, and I was always disappointed that they were hollow. You change subjects, I have to think. You know, the older you get, you got to think a little longer. So I never minded having the chocolate. The problem I had, regardless of whether it was Easter, Christmas, or Halloween, is I knew how to have one piece at a time. And my sister would go through it all, and then she'd start raiding mine. And I was like, what are you doing? So it was an interesting thing, but it was funny how when you ask that question, what comes back as memory we used to have, I can remember the time we had one Easter egg hunt in the house I grew up in. And then I remember that we always got a new Easter outfit. Would have a hat, white gloves, white
Yeah,
socks
that was-
with lace on them, patent leather shoes, and a new dress.
This raiding business that you people had in your house, never had that in my house.
Wait a minute,
You
the
did
what?
not take somebody else's
Oh,
Easter basket candy.
Yeah, you would kill in your house.
It just wasn't done.
well, it didn't happen that often after I found it out. But I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of those things that I would, and even in my own house now, if I don't hide what it is I want to eat, it gets eaten. Ice cream is a good example. Is that
Well,
if I don't
whatever's in
eat my ice cream, it gets eaten by the other person that lives with me.
whatever
I
is in
can't
the,
ration it.
whatever, I'm gonna say this whether you like it or not,
Go ahead.
whatever's in the fridge is household food. Whatever's in there you can eat.
I understand that, but there's some things I can't eat. And when I was on a specific diet at the time to try to figure out what was wrong, what was going on, I thought, well, he's not going to eat ice cream that is soy based. Sure enough, there it went.
Well, there's those cravings, and you just find something in the fridge.
So
and
I
eat it.
hide it.
Oh, that's
And the
funny.
same thing happens with candy.
Yeah.
And then I had I shouldn't be sharing. You shared the thing about your wife.
Yeah, no, it's
I had
fine.
a thing. I buy almonds, like say by the 3 pounds, and I like to have, and they're roasted, so I don't have to roast them. So if I'm making something for here or for any number of other places, and I grind up the almonds, I have them. And you're only supposed to eat so many of them.
Yes, it's
But
not
they
good.
disappear really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and then you wonder why your weight goes up. All right. Well, anyway, there's a few other things that I had. I had the thing with that. I had a thing where they're continuing to try to figure out how mosquitoes are attracted more to one person than another. And that was an interesting article, but there was a lot of science in it.
That-
John
but
doesn't
that's
like
the-
science.
But that's on the exhale of your
Carbon dioxide.
carbon dioxide is what
Right.
attracts them, right?
But
So-
there's more to it than that.
Really?
Black will attract them, but it's mostly the carbon dioxide. They don't see
Yeah.
very well.
Yep.
But there was this article that I had sent John about mosquitoes, that there were people that volunteered because they had like a mesh suit, and they wondered whether or not the mosquitoes could get through it, and the answer was yes.
Yep.
So it's kind of like no matter what you wear, depending upon what it is, they still can get through the clothing. So it went through the whole thing in the analysis of
You
all
can
the
also have your
mosquitoes.
yard sprayed and you won't see any mosquitoes.
But you won't see anything else either because it's not discriminating.
I don't care.
I do.
I go outside, I don't want any bugs.
I gotcha. So the citronella will work, and then you've got, if you have like a patio area, you can put other types of things that grow that they don't like.
Now, my kid Jack, every year he gets, since Zoe was born, the oldest grandkid, we're always afraid of ticks and whatever kind of crazy little bugs. So there were no bugs in our yard.
Well, that stuff doesn't necessarily kill ticks, so we won't go in that direction. But
Okay, smarty pants. Thank you.
there was something that they had that if you're working in the yard, if you have like two-sided tape and you put it on your ankles, since that's how they get up into your
Yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Two-sided tape on your ankles. That's the Chelmsford way.
Well, you put it over socks. But anyway, any bug that's trying to crawl up your leg is going to get stuck.
We're going to see a bunch of people in Lowell with two-sided tape on their ankles.
Well, it's a tick deterrent.
Well,
Yeah,
they're texting
yeah.
it now. Where do I get this two-sided tape?
Ask your local hardware
We're
store.
starting a new trend.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. No, talking about mosquitoes in Puerto Rico, they're very small.
Oh, they are in Florida.
They're
You can't see
tiny. You can't see them. And they, if you have your windows and doors open as dust comes in, they sneak in, and then it's very dark, and then they come out and destroy you. And you wake up looking like you got
had
a bunch of freckles or something.
Well,
because
yeah,
you
you have
yeah.
measles.
yeah.
Yeah, or of other things to John, just to top off some of the political stuff that's out there. And one of the things is ICE. And
Yeah, that's a hot
I thought-
topic.
Yep, and I thought that it was interesting to send them into the airports. And I did some research. There was something that was on Facebook, and I can't find it on Google. It was some guy that had a meltdown, was jumping up and down and everything, and calling them Nazis and fascists, which is not appropriate if you knew what they meant. But and then I looked up some other stuff that's not true either that's out there. So I would suggest that if you want to know what's going on, do your own research rather than just listening to whatever the media is telling you, regardless of what the media is. They had said how ICE had gone into the airport in California, and then they had all this video and all kinds of stuff. Well, the person had a warrant on them, outstanding since 2019 or 2017 or something. And the only reason that they tried to I wouldn't say jump her, but tried to restrain her was because she tried to leave. And she ran away, and that was the issue. But the other issue was ICE wasn't in any of those airports at the time. And I sent one of those videos to John from NBC
Evelyn, you
News.
send me 75 things, and you make it act like, oh, I sent it to John. She sends me 1,500 things a week.
Well, no, not quite. But I send it not only to you. I
I'll
send it
bet
to
you it's
Glenn
100, close to 100.
and Sam and myself.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I must have,
So was
200
the video
things.
recorded prior, or was
After.
it was a different location?
Oh, no, it was
Was it
after.
in the airport?
It was in one of the California airports.
Okay.
And NBC News had the video of it, basically saying that it wasn't NBC National, NBC Local. Basically saying that at the time there were no ICE agents in any of the California airports. But TSA notified ICE when this person went through,
Okay.
and then they arrived. But it wasn't until they notified that, as far as I'm aware, that's the way it was stated in the video from the news broadcast.
Okay.
But they also had, I saw this morning, there was another article about a judge that was in, I don't think I wrote
Somebody
it down.
lock the door.
I did. I locked it because
Go
I,
let Sidney in.
How about I go?
no, it's okay. You
You
talk about something else.
Oh boy.
He needs to have the women do his
Oh,
jobs.
John.
You locked the
You
door.
upset her.
Well,
No,
I didn't know somebody else
now
was coming. You
now
didn't
that John has
Well, you
upset
have the
the
calendar.
co-host and I'm
She's
here by
kicked
myself, we're gonna talk. We were just talking about ICE and the video that's out there in regards to an arrest at the airport. I mean, I have no problem with ICE being on in the airport. I feel more secure if they're there, especially at a time where
Well,
we're
why don't we change our
engaged in a
ticketing
war.
procedure? In Israel, when you buy a ticket to fly in Israel, you can't buy it at the counter that day. Hi, I want a ticket to New York. And we'll see you in a month. They're going to check you out up and down. And if they don't like you, the cops will show up at your hotel and say, hey, Cisco, let's have a little chit-chat.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ev.
I mean,
Sidney, how are you?
Israel's a good at looking at people and determining, if they're there for good or bad.
Well, I'll bet you
They're
that most of
experts
it's
at that.
electronic. Most of
Yep.
it's electronic. Why don't we do it in this country?
Do what?
What is real? Electronic. When you buy a ticket,
Surveillance, yeah.
tell her the story.
We were just talking about the arrest at the airport
Mm-hmm.
and how I feel that you're secured. I feel more secure if there's more officers there, whether it's ICE or the state and John was about to say something in
And I brought
regards-
something up. In Israel, you buy a ticket to Israel, you can't walk up to the counter and buy a ticket to go to New York today. You can't do that. They won't let you on a plane for at least, I think it's 14 days.
Whoa.
They're going to check you out. And if they don't like you, they're going to show up at your house or your hotel, and you'll have an interview.
Well, there's a lot of people that complain about things in this country, and the freedoms that we have in this country that they're complaining about doesn't happen anywhere else, just
Well,
like you said about Israel.
In conclusion about Israel, one of my friends, she was reading a book, and they knew she bought the book, and they asked her, what interest do you have in this author in this book? That's what the Israeli officials asked her. Amazing.
Well, you also have a lot of airports where they have AR-15s in the airports. When Glenn used to travel places, he was like, it was a little disconcerting, but he felt very safe.
No.
That a lot of people don't understand that. And we could certainly talk about gun control in 2 minutes, because there's a lot of things every time, like for instance, the illegal alien that shot the girl in Illinois. Oh, it was her fault because she must have startled the
It
person
was
that
the
had the
gun's
gun.
fault. It was the gun's fault.
Yeah.
And it was the gun's fault because somebody actually, the gun shot itself. But usually when things like that happen, the first thing they want to do is have gun control. The only gun control they're going to have is on the people that legally are buying the guns.
Exactly.
And the people that are not legally buying guns can always get the guns.
Jay wants to point this out this morning. We never had a chance to check out the newcomers who stormed our borders. President Biden said, come on in, and they did.
Right, but they're never going to take the blame. In other words, that administration created a crisis, and now they're trying to fix the crisis they created, but they're really not. And then there was interviews.
Who's the they?
The Democrats, that particular, not all of them, but those that happen to get elected, many of them. And then there's ones that don't dare to not vote the way the party goes because they know they will be out of a job at some point, kind of like Fetterman.
And that's what's
I
happening
admire
right
him
now.
quite a bit for
Yeah.
stepping up and basically speaking his mind and standing up for the American people. Delta cut special services for people in Congress. There's no more cut the line. They have to stand in line like everybody else. I asked my phone if any other airline did it, and the answer was no, not yet, but they're looking at it. So we're coming up to the 7 o'clock mark for our transition, and I know John's going to break shortly. And so stay with us because Sidney's here, and we'll talk about some more stuff. And I still have my list, and we can just touch briefly on it.
I'm having fun.
Well, that's very important at 6 o'clock in the
I won't
morning.
be having fun when I get home.
Does she watch it?
I don't know. I hope not.
We'll be back, thanks.
I won't be having fun when I get home.
Welcome back to City Life. I'm Evelyn Thoren. I'm your host. Cisco, here we go again with the bad pronunciation.
Maldonado.
Oh, okay, I did it. All right, and Sidney Liang is our guest this morning. He's on the Lowell City Council. We talked about a bunch of stuff the first hour, and I didn't know whether or not Sidney had found all of the articles about Lowell is one of the best places to live, according to Travel Leisure Magazine. We had Boston.com. Did you see all of that?
Yeah, I read a little bit about it, yeah.
Right. Did it ever come up on the floor of the city council how great it is?
Not yet. I think there's a lot of great stuff happening around the city, so yeah, was surprised to see it, but also glad to see it.
So if anybody wants to know, they can certainly take a look at, Google it as far as with Lowell. And it seemed as though they did the analysis in a lot of the urban communities because of the access to social events, entertainment. There's a lot of different things, the festivals that's out there. People just not everybody likes it, but there's a lot of people that happen to like city life. No pun intended. And I personally happen to like living in the country, which some people consider that's Chelmsford. My mother thought when we moved to Chelmsford it was in the boonies because we were more than 5 minutes away from a grocery store. Because that was her first question. Where are the grocery stores? Ma, they're close enough. I can drive.
And that's one of the basis for this rating, right? We got tons of grocery stores here in the city. So if you like shopping and you like shopping for food, we got plenty of supermarkets.
Well, you also have a lot of ethnic food. So what's interesting is depending upon the supermarket and the locations, there's always a specialty area. And then they'll carry certain things depending, again, upon the source. If you need something, they will also order it for you. So that's something that happens in a lot of urban communities, but it certainly doesn't necessarily always happen in suburban.
I am surprised how different even the market baskets are in Lowell, depending where you're shopping. I mean, I recently got a job on the other side of the river, so it's easier to stop at new market basket on Pawtucket Boulevard.
That's pretty.
And it's so differently laid out compared to the market basket on 110 in Chelmsford, where I usually shop. And I'm still trying to get used to the Pawtucket Street market basket. The other day I was looking for, maybe somebody can answer this, I was looking for breadcrumbs. And
They're not where you think they should be.
They're not over the frozen stuff, over the frozen meatballs on 110. That's where they're at towards the end, right? I
where
couldn't
did you find them?
I can't find them on the new market basket on Pawtucket Boulevard.
I
So
have an
somebody has
assignment.
to
I'll
tell me
go look.
where they're hiding the breadcrumbs.
Usually I make my own.
Oh, really? Jeez. You're so good.
Yeah, but it's not hard to make your own. Have you ever
Let's-
made
let's-
your own breadcrumbs? Do you cook?
Let's talk to our guest.
Well, that's what I was just asking them.
Right.
Do you make your
No,
own?
no,
okay.
no.
Do you cook?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Somewhat. A little
So
appetizer here and there.
Basically, your wife cooks?
Yes, most of the
Okay.
time. And my daughter.
Oh, I don't have a daughter, but I usually do all the cooking and the baking. My husband has.
What does that have to do with city council?
It doesn't, but it did have to do with the topic
Oh,
that
yeah.
we had, and we're just working our way
Now we
towards
have a
that.
guest. We have a
Yeah,
guest.
I understand a
Thank you.
guest.
Thank you.
It's
So,
all the ingredients of the cities.
We're trying to make the guests feel normal to
Yeah.
our viewers and,
Yeah.
and relate to us, John.
Okay,
and
let
say,
me ask
these
this silly
people
question.
are like us.
Sydney, what do you know about breadcrumbs?
I know a
Since that's
lot.
a main topic, and you know where they are in the supermarket.
I know a lot about fried rice.
Okay, let's move on to city council.
do you
all right.
make fried rice?
Yes.
All right.
Mostly
We
on
just-
Tuesday.
So what's the hottest topic currently that the city council is discussing? Are we still discussing the senior center? Are they looking at, or is it more state or federal for the courthouse, the old courthouse? So those are a couple of things that I
Right,
came
right.
across when I was doing a little research.
Well, I mean, last week there was also the senior center, and also the interesting thing about the flock group projects, and Cisco might know something about that as well, right? So about
we'll
these
talk about the
civilians,
flock.
and also, maybe the forthcoming the budget, and that's like this eerie feeling about the budget that's coming up. So we don't know, we haven't seen, but most of the time it's just more of a summary of all the stuff's going on, and try to align sort of like all the information in one place, whether it's on the website or not. The website is actually brutal in terms of trying to figure out things that's going on. And one of my two motions is really, was simple. Most of my motion is about people empowerment, community outreach, and things like that, so that we get people to the city hall, and use city hall as part of their community, and not to come by and be scary about getting into city halls, or when you walk inside there, it's a little scary. So how do we make city hall more welcoming? How do we make city hall more related to the community that we serve out there? Now, this is not talking about the historic, breaking walls and whatnot. This is just, internal, just like when you walk inside. There's a lot of stuff's happening that could be done, but we'll see what the city managers are going to do.
So you brought that up. I had recently spoke to Sean on McDonough in regards to what he brought to my attention was that why is the city council's backs faced to the public? And he made a good point in the sense that it's time to change things, and I like that. And the positive things on Sidney I've been hearing about on the folks out in the streets when I go out there is that they're really happy with your, I want to say performance, but they're happy with what you're doing. So keep up on the work, the way you're doing it. I do understand what you're saying. We definitely want more engagement, and something when I ran for council was I want more people engaged, and you have to change things. We've been doing things, that's how it's been done for years. Well, it's maybe time to change, and it's good to see that a younger group of voters are being more engaged and more active. And even Sean bringing up the fact that why is the city council backed to the public?
Right.
And it's sort of disrespectful, and I was, that was something I didn't see, and I was impressed by him bringing that up as a younger, younger than me. How's that?
Right. So I brought that up within the package motion that I did. It was one is that we should be able to have, let's say, LCD screen inside City Hall about the different activities and event. Imagine when you go do flag raising about your country, and then the next day there's not even a footprint about what happened. What the community member that came through the wall of the City Hall, there's nothing there. It's almost like they all disappear waiting for another year to come. And then you're talking about, the black sofa that's right in front of the mayors and whatnot. When you look back there, that black sofa, I have no idea how long it's been there. It's let's sort of like change it a little bit, redecorate it a little bit in terms of trying to make community more welcoming, more attractive in a way. Let them come to the city hall. If they have questions, don't be afraid to ask. And sometimes when you have so many items on the agenda, they have to stand there, and some of them have to stand there and put their necks through the door and trying to look in. What about feeding the event to the wall so that people don't have to really come in? If there's a lot of people, they can actually look from the outside and see what's happening inside. I mean, they do that at the State House, they do it at the capitals and all that. I mean, this is possible, and we're so much forward in terms of technology that City Hall is a little bit behind in terms of trying to get community involved. My job is to basically empower people to come in. We want more voter if they feel comfortable, like, hey, you know what? They're talking about my life. They're talking about my street. They're talking about my community. They're talking about my neighborhood. So let them come out and speak their mind. That's my thing. I mean, it's basically, that's not my seat for 2 years. I mean, even now, I'm just there looking at the items, like, what John was saying, that, there's a big package of stuff that, every week I have to go in and try to think, like, okay, what is the best way to approach these things and offer my idea and my solution? That's it. And if somebody else, like you said, have better idea, which I know there's a lot of people out there in the community that have much better way of, helping the community, than 11 of us. That's what my goal is, to basically get more people that represent the community, that be the face of the community that they live in and trying to solve the problem. I don't care you have to talk about potholes all day long. I mean, people ask me why you keep talking about pothole. Well, if there's pothole in front of your house, you'll be talking about pothole as well. You know, so, and if your kid cross the street and fall because of the pothole, of course you're going to get angry. So yeah, we're talking about pothole before we even, talk about something else. And to me is that's a little bit insulting when you have a better life, there's no pothole in front of your street, and we can't even talk about pothole? Come on, so.
Yeah, but Sidney, you got to ask yourself, why is a pothole a city council issue? How bad is the management of our streets? If the only way you can get it fixed is to talk about it at a city council meeting, that's a disgrace. And the manager should be called out on it.
Yeah,
And he'll say, well, let me have the guy from the DPW. No, it's your freaking job, man. Ride around in your goddamn car that we pay for and get these potholes fixed. They don't belong at city council meetings.
I agree.
Thank you.
But if you have a citizen that calls you because they can't get anywhere on a telephone, because this has always been one of those gripes they had in Chelmsford when I was on the school committee. Why are the parents calling you? Why aren't they following this process? I said, because they can't seem to get through the process and they're not getting any satisfactory answers. So I'm asking you publicly on school committee floor, what are we doing about this? What is the solution? How about if you outline the process? And then if the process fails, then what do you do? So sometimes it's not a last resort. And some people that elected you because they knew that you would speak up and address the issues at hand for them. And that's why you're there, is because you represent your constituents. What's amusing, we talked about earlier, there's a lot of stuff that's out there, and this is national, is that in the airports, Delta has canceled special treatment for members of Congress. They would get escorted and all the other stuff. Now they have to act like everybody else. Well, they should.
They should, I agree with you.
Because how would they know what the problem is unless they experience it? Because obviously they're not paying any attention because we still have all the problems. And so that's an excellent example of the city council. They understand what potholes are. It may not necessarily be in your area, but it might be in somebody else's area. And it does affect people because people drive all over the city. They just don't drive on their own street. So there's a number of issues that can be brought up regardless of the city manager. And sometimes, even if I did or didn't do it on camera, there are issues when I was on school committee that the superintendent was not aware of because it never reached his desk. And so you want to let them know what's going on underneath them, and then if somebody's not doing their job, then they need to know that.
But it goes back to, Sidney said, a pothole affects people differently. Different communities affects, if you have the right vehicle, the pothole isn't a big issue to you. If you have one of the more expensive vehicles, a pickup truck, let's say, they're $130,000. Most people can't afford a big vehicle like that. But if you're driving the normal vehicle for a poor city like us that has small tires and is down lower to the ground, it gets damaged. And that's a cost that these people are dealing with. They get home and find that their tires are leaking because the rim got bent in the pothole, and now they're trying to survive, and now they have to find $600 for a front tire and an alignment, which is what it probably costs. If $170 is your nails, can you imagine if you lose a tire?
You're going to find that out and let me know, because I think that's
out.
too much money. We talked about all kinds of funny
Yeah,
stuff.
we do.
No.
Among budgets
Before
and
you
clothing
we're
and,
talking about the expenses of nails, but
he brought it up.
I brought it up because I was shocked by that. But no, I agree with you, and I think it's important to understand the concerns of your community, and that's the reason we elected, or we were forced, elected to change the way we elect our counselors now. I like the idea that we have a counselor in every district and represents a smaller group of the city.
Besides just everybody.
And can pay attention to my concerns. And it's easier for me to call my district councilor and know that he's going to pay attention and he's going to bring those concerns to City Hall on Tuesday.
Most of the problems that we had on school committee had to do with school buses and what occurred or didn't occur. And so we have the thing with the potholes, and that's universal. It's there's a lot of cartoons that's out there, but I don't need to go through all of them. I'll have to see if I can pull up a few visuals at another point and send them to John. But so you have that particular issue that people will bring up or they don't bring up. What else do people bring up that they want you to address?
There's there's a neighborhood over here as well too that we're working on, which the Bishop Markham Jam plan, and also mainly some project that's already been done, waste management kind of. Of course, everything's increasing, and that I feel like I can't, in a way, that's something I can't stop. Just because how everything is moving. I mean, the high school, nobody want to talk about the high school and how it keep going and going, never get done, and the money keep asking for more and more. Every time you don't finish the project, the price increases just because the materials and everything else involved. So these are some of the projects that involved in citywide. For me, when we're talking about what happened when your community member called. And, just tell me, leave me a message, email me, for example, like there's a, barber shop on Broadway in Willie. He actually said, hey, I just want a 30-minute sign on my place. And, so, I drove there and I look at the place and then, I asked the city, see if we can, help, stuff like that. So most of the time I did what I was, doing when I was campaigning. Basically, I go to the community. I drive to the area. If there's people telling me, hey, there's a problem in that neighborhood, I drive there. Another example is that there's, issues with the people don't stop around Fletcher and Bauer. And, so I drove there and I just sat there for an hour and then I observed. On a different day, I drove there again, and I observed. So I do the same thing that I was, I have been doing for 30 years, which is you have to see it. You can't just feel it or think what it's look like. You have to be there. And, sometimes, for me, it's a little bit different because people never know that I'm a city councilor. So one example was that when we have ICC open for the snow, I got searched. Hey, who are you? I'm like, by the time I was explaining to them, then it was too late. I got, so it's one of those things, right? Wherever I go, unless I have a sign, a badge, people wouldn't, and they and I like it in a way that way as well, because you see reality in life, because that's how it works, and I like it in a ways that's how you solve things. It's how you look at things. So.
Well, it also tells you the other person's character and integrity. If they're going to judge you basically on the way you look, okay, what is there? How much respect is there? Okay, and there's so many levels that we could have that discussion on, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
But that's one of the things that you pointed out is that. If you look a certain way, people may be suspicious. They can be, but it depends upon how then they act out on those particular suspicions and how they would question or what they might do. Now, if they treat everybody exactly the same way, that's also different than if they just pull somebody out because they don't like the way they look or what you're wearing. And it's just something that happens to now be in our culture more so than it ever was, which is unfortunate. But, treating somebody exactly the same way, regardless of, what car you drive or what clothes you wear, is not always easy to do. People prejudge.
But it's getting better because I think it's getting better because what's the mixing of cultures, mixing of understanding why people do what they do. We've had the Asian community, the Puerto Rican community in Lowell for, a couple decades now, which is
30 plus years.
has brought, but it's brought, now it's there's so much knowledge about, the Puerto Rican culture, the Asian culture, and people understand each other better, so they're not afraid of each other as much. So I think that's getting better. I'm going to go back to what you were saying about the intersection, the four-way stop sign over at Fletcher and Bauer Street. What I would say, Councilor, is something that the engineer needs to look at is line of sight as again, being the reconstructionist for the police department and doing that. I had numerous accidents where I determined line of sight was the issue. I would go have them look at how high those stop signs are, because the problem people don't understand is that the vehicle's moving, so that line of sight's moving. So if you're going uphill and you're at the bottom of the hill, your vision is above where that stop sign is, and you never, because the vehicle's traveling so fast, by the time you get to the stop sign, you literally don't refocus, and you're not at the line of sight where that sign is, and you drive through it. And that's just me
Well,
from the engineering.
Right, I do hope
you
that.
understand that?
I hope somebody, is watching so that they can, bring that up, because the motion was brought, a while back, maybe 2 weeks ago, to ask them to look at it, because it was from the residents who keep walking there. I don't want to be, it was brought, to my attention, and I don't want any accident, happen, and by not bringing it up, because they concerned about it, and they came forward. So so let's see what come about, because there's area. I went to Medford and Winchester when I drove to Quincy. They have this little flashing stop sign, so it also can attract attention to people. So hey, you need to stop. But at some time a little bit of enforcement might help also, just to make sure you stop.
Sidney, we have 150 police cars. You tell your manager, Mr. Manager, I want a police car dropped off at that corner every morning. I don't care if there's a cop in it or not, but I want a police cruiser sitting at that
They'll
intersection.
stop.
And you can bet your bippy, they see a cop car, they go, oh, I'm
I-
stopping
you know,
here today.
So there's some places that are in Chelmsford where there were a lot of accidents. And what they had, one was, I'm trying to think, School Street and Graniteville. And they have, it's a four-way stop, but they had a lot of T-bones, they had a lot of stuff like that, because people aren't paying attention. So what they did was they put in the stop sign that had the red lights that flashes. And it has a motion detector on it, so when you get within so many feet, it starts flashing at you. There was another place that they had, which is on, I'm trying to think of what it is, like Old Westford Road, and crossing, I think it was Davis, up by the high school. And line of sight is an issue, because there's a curve, and it's a hill. So when you're coming down, your momentum is great. It's not a stop sign coming down. It's a stop sign trying to cross it. But there's also a blinking light so that they know that there's an intersection there. And so there's a variety of things that people do, that law enforcement does and DPWs do to try to decrease the number of accidents. But unfortunately, in spite of that, there's always somebody somewhere that's not paying attention. We briefly talked about that earlier in the program, because there's a lot of accidents on 495 and on 95. And the other morning, because my husband gets the notifications on his phone and stuff, he goes, "Where's exit 88? I says, "That's the one we take when we come down from New Hampshire to get off in Chelmsford." Really? Like I would know? Well, yeah.
So when you're done, I have the favorite part of the show coming up.
Okay. So anyway, so we talked about about what you could and could not do. And one of the things is people need to know how to drive first. And they need to pay attention to
They have a
driving.
license. I'm going to go to break. Here we go. All righty.
Comes the events.
Tonight is a fundraiser for the 9/11 Memorial in Tewksbury. Mark Kratman's going to run an event. I got a video for Mark here. I'm going to hit play and turn him up. Let's see, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Crabman. I'm the president of the Tewksbury 9/11 Committee, and today we're out here at the 9/11 Memorial. Recently, the committee has decided to put together a little fundraising event to try to care for and maintain the 9/11 Memorial. This is the 25th anniversary of 9/11 this year. Can't believe it's already been 25 years, but we made a promise back then to never forget, and we're trying to live up to that promise. The memorial is in good shape, but it still needs a lot of love and care. As you can see, some of the foundation is starting to sink down, and the bricks with the names of the people on here are starting to sink down. We've done preventative maintenance over the last couple of years. We've had many people come out, all volunteers. We've had the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, many volunteers from the Patriotic 9/11 Committee, all people coming out, trying to help out to make this, a lasting monument and make sure that people remember 9/11. This year, we're going to do a fundraiser at Wamisit Lanes, trying to raise funds. We know everyone's busy, so people, if you can't make it, you can still make a donation to the Tewksbury 9/11 Committee. We're just trying to raise some funds so we can do some preventative maintenance, keep this place alive. There's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done. The lights are failing. The lights were put out here originally. We've replaced bulbs, we replaced sockets. But if you look at a lot of the light fixtures, there's corrosion, there's water getting into it. The names are fading. Last year we had the Boy Scouts come out on their hands and knees scrubbing the rocks. And if you take a look at it now, it needs it again. We just want to make sure that we preserve the monument. Hope to see people there this Thursday. And if you can't make it, any donations, $5, $10, anything would be graciously accepted. I really appreciate your help.
Sure. Welcome back to City Life. He didn't have too many commercials this morning. There is always, so I'll do a couple of my own that I like to do. One is if you are doing spring cleaning and getting rid of items, please check online for the Wish Project that is in North Chelmsford on Middlesex Street. They're always looking for gently used clothing, shoes, we talked about shoes earlier, sneakers, blankets, towels, kitchen items. They don't take furniture. You'd have to look someplace else for the furniture. And if you know somebody on a busy street, put the furniture out, put free on it, it'll disappear quite well. If you are in Chelmsford, realize that as far as I'm aware, you only can put out one bulk item per month. And I find that rather interesting. So I break down my bulk items into bags and get rid of them that way, as long as the truck can pick it up, and I don't exceed the limit. In Chelmsford, the shack, we call it a shack, that is behind the town offices. I think it will be opening on next week at the beginning of April. It's the first Wednesday of each month. If you have fluorescent lights and bulbs and things, you can check online as far as the recycling stuff goes in Chelmsford. We also talked earlier about Paul Cohen leaving and why, as far as the retirement benefits and that he's not going to gain anything by that.
I never knew retirement benefits decrease if you don't retire on time.
Right, that's what Cisco said, is that they will begin to decrease if you stay working.
I got 8 announcements when you're ready, 8 messages.
Okay, and so we also have our election in the town of Chelmsford coming up on the first Tuesday in April. There are some contested races. There's a debate this evening at the police station in Chelmsford, hosted, I think, by the Democrat and Republican Town Committee.
In their training room. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous place to go. So it should be televised. And then on the weekend prior to the election, what Chelmsford Telemedia does is it plays all of those, plus Cut to the Chase, that's Sam Chase's program, where he has interviewed all of the major candidates for the seats that are up this particular spring. So going to you.
Okay, Bart is looking to see the baked good. I'll be putting that on the screen in a minute. In 2023, when the 4% millionaires tax was enacted, residents leaving the state took $4.5 billion in adjusted gross income with them, marking an 8% year-over-year increase in taxpayers leaving according to Bloomberg. So it sounds like this guy's telling us that it was a loss for the state, the millionaire's tax. And then the next text, the problem with 485 are all the people driving to Maine and New Hampshire. There's no other way to get to those two states without driving through Massachusetts. Next text goes to,
Unless you know the back roads, and then it takes you longer, but it depends.
Yeah, but-
But if you are shutting down the highway, you gotta get off.
Yeah.
welcome, Mr. Liang. It's refreshing watching him ask tough questions to the manager. With the warm weather coming, what is the plan for it hasn't been discussed with the city council. You can't have a pothole crew without potholes. My point, Jay, is the pothole guys are doing a fantastic job. They're just not enough crew, and that's all because we have too many people working on the second and third and fourth floor of City Hall. We have too many administrators. That's my take on it. Continuing with the two more texts, but it's also up to the courts to enforce the law. It's not dismiss every time someone whines about a ticket. Good point. Respectfully, who was in charge of putting the monument together? It shouldn't fail that easily. It's 20 years old, buddy. It needs maintenance. Anything outside needs maintenance. Back over to you, Rep. Thanks.
Okay, so, what about the, courthouse? Is that anything that's under the council, or is that state?
The courthouse,
The
the one
old
that's going
one.
up on auction?
Yes.
Oh, I read about it, but nobody has said anything about the courthouse.
Story on that is nobody wants it. No state entity, no government entity, no federal, no city, nobody wants it, so it's going up for auction. And the problem is the ceilings are too high. To bring it up to code will be costly.
We'll see what they're doing with it. I mean, I haven't heard anything, brought it up for discussion about the courthouse. All I read was outside, which,
Well, I just hope if nobody buys it, they tear it down.
Oh, that's, somebody's gonna
It's
get
a
it.
beautiful, I know it's a beautiful building, but so what? So was St. Peter's Church. We need the parking space. Let it go. Goodbye. If you
Yeah.
like it that much, we'll move it to your backyard.
I agree with John. It's time to consider making more parking for the residents. You have that,
Cisco, why am I not hearing you on your mic? Is your mic on, off? Okay.
okay, sorry. So I agree with John in regards to some structures coming down. It's time to make more parking available
Well,
for.
put some houses over there. We
for-
don't need
yeah,
parking. We'll just
no,
put a whole
I-
neighborhood over there,
But
50 stories.
some parking is needed because we're developing a lot of the communities without the proper parking. There's a lot of units going in the Hamilton project. They're talking 320 units in there, and there's at least two people in those units that are going to have cars. Where are those cars going to go? Even though we do have a parking garage over there, which is hopefully going to bring in some revenue for the city by having those residents park there, but. Knowing humans, they're going to find somewhere to park where they don't have to.
Well,
Pay
Sidney,
money.
do you have that problem over in your neighborhood where there's a developer building a building that has no parking?
I do. I mean, you know me. I don't hold back in regard to, for example, new buildings going up, in the acre, and less parking and green space. I keep saying that, and then there's folks, for example, that new building might be coming up just because, it's an MBTA sort of
Now,
like,
that's baloney. If
and that's
you
like,
got-
there's not necessary parking.
The mindset of the city council is you have to convince one other city councilor to put that back on the agenda to let's have 2 parking spaces per unit. Because the manager is railroading through all these projects. Okay to build, okay to build, okay to build. He doesn't care. He just wants the revenue from those units coming into City Hall.
Well, I mean, again.
You're gonna change the law. It's a
It-
local thing.
Yeah, we have to look at something. I mean, especially again, people are using that rule, to build houses, and And again, I mean, look at different areas as well. I mean, I keep saying that you walk into the acre. Come on, if you don't look down, you're gonna fall just
Yeah.
because of the pothole
It's
and
very,
the broken.
very overpopulated.
It is, and sometimes I feel like we need to do something, but at the same time, I mean, there's not so many appetite within the seat. To support those ideas and say, hey, let's look at other areas and maybe putting some housings in different places. Now, we all agree that we do need some housing
Well,
there.
you take Sakari Chow's district. There's no parking. There's no parking around there. None. You take Sean McDonough's district. There's no parking.
Right.
So if you team up with those two characters and say, hey, guys, what do you say we change this regulation and demand at least 2 parking spaces per unit?
Not a
Like
bad
Drake
idea.
it does. Drake, they'll say, oh, it's the MBTA, it's the law. The city council, the then city council, was sold a bill of goods that they didn't have any options. They had to cave, they had to vote for this no park. And I find out in Drake it, they didn't cave, there's 2 parking spaces per unit. Same MBTA rule. And the city go, oh, we can't. Yes, you can, Tommy. Find a way, Tommy. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Well, I mean, I also, hopefully somebody will, bring up about the homeless, and I'm looking for experts who can help with solution, both for people that's really in the neighborhoods, whether it's the resident or the businesses, and the people that really, I know the weather's getting warmer, and they probably, a little bit at ease in terms of like not being in the cold and being fearful of where to sleep at night. So that's an issue we need to bring it up and talk, and maybe ask the whole council and other experts. We can come up with some sort of solution and maybe just finalize it and then see what could happen if we come together and do that. Because I know that I say the word homeless and unhoused a little bit different. For me, a home is where you want to go. A home is where you want to stay. I have again, I keep saying about my nephew. He every time he gets out, he doesn't want to come out, come at home, and then when he get out there, he's using and all that. And then when you bring him home, he can't stay in one place. He said it's too crowded, or he said
He's got to go to rehab. He's got to go to rehab for
Right.
6 weeks.
He went to rehab, and then a couple of weeks later, he signed himself
How
out.
long was rehab?
He signed himself out in a week or two. That was it.
It's got to be 6
And
weeks.
then he's back at it again, and
Can't let him back in the house.
So
You can't let him back in the house until he cures himself.
the only thing is that he couldn't even stay in the house. That was it. I mean, even though this living room all by himself, he could stay there. No, it's just like there's so many rules in the house. I can't do this. I can't do that. So
Everybody wants to do their own thing.
it's hard because it's like, what make a person want to be out there? Because like him, he has a place, but and I had a really nice colleague who has a younger brother that he was in school, he earned and got a master's degrees and whatnot, and all of a sudden he just want to stay out there, and his life now is on the street, and it's almost like, what make a home is not a home, that you become homeless in a way that you're staying out there. What is it? What drugs? What addictive stuff?
Sidney, rehab is a minimum of 6 weeks. And if a character in your life has a drug problem and they don't want to go away for 6 weeks, you got to let it fester on the outside of your house, because they will steal your chandelier.
Yeah, so I agree with John in regards to, and being an officer for 29 years, I'm talking from experience. We have to understand, when the drugs take over the decision making, you have to weed the drugs completely out. Your loved one is not your loved one being in control of that decision making. The drugs are making the decisions. And guess what? You can't do that overnight. Once the drugs have been in their system for years, guess what? It's going to take years to get those drugs completely out of that person and change who's driving that body. And the problem is, with the strategy that we're using to tackle drug dependency is wrong in Massachusetts. I understand nobody wants to see their loved one locked up. But guess what? They're not making decisions. The drugs are making decisions. We have a population that are out on the street. The drugs are making those decisions. Okay, you know why? Because a lot of our homeless people, they're financially stable. There is a lot of money in Massachusetts. That's why we pay so much taxes. There is a lot of money being given to people in need. And they're choosing to take that money that's, given to them for housing, for the drug. The money for food, for the drug. That drug saying, hey, I come first. I'm going to make you do what I need, whether it's steal from your loved one, from your parents, steal from your neighbors, even hurt people to get what the drug needs. Unfortunately, until we accept the fact that our loved ones are being controlled by a drug and not making decisions on their own, you're not going to fix that problem. They're going to choose to go back on the street because the drug wants that, because guess what? All the other money can go into the heroin.
I do. I mean, I agree with that, and I like, as a person who's working with the healthcare field for, almost 30 years, when the drug take hold of that person and we're trying to help them, there's one other things or other component that a lot of people miss, especially in our community that built in with different culture and tradition and where we come from. Just an example, I had an in-law, who passed away about 4 years ago due to alcohol addiction. So she went into, for example, she was taken away and get into rehab and whatnot. And then afterward, she came back home and, live a normal life and whatnot. But then you have to look at the community where she was living in. On Saturday night or Sunday night, there's neighbors who's having party, or the children are calling their friends over and having parties with drinking alcohol and everything else. And, we can't keep educating her while everything else is all around her. So I believe that step one is basically, talking to the individual that being affected. Step two is looking at the environmental surrounding where you have family member who must get involved. Because if they don't get involved, that's what happened is that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they go back to work and you leave all this alcohol, you leave all these things at home, and it's very tempted for this person to be, alone, and it's right in front of you, and you're going to take a little sip, and then you keep going, and then you're back at it again. And that's what happened until, on a Friday night, nobody found her, and then they didn't find her until the next day on a Saturday. That was too late, because that's what happened is that the education has to go not just to that person, it has to go to the family and how bad it is to have an addiction, and then the member, and how, what Cisco was mentioning, the person is not there anymore. It's the drug that's talking. It's the drug that's making decision for that person. Even though, like I said earlier, you have a person who's very educated, but at the same time, he's out on the street. But that's not him anymore. It's the drug, or it's whatever the thing that he's taking that's also make him go out there. And sometimes we put him in a rehab and or arrested him and whatnot, and then just let him go. You can't just put him out there. But the family member and everything else and the community that he goes to need to be more educated. And that's why I'm, for over 25 years, I'm all about education and promoting, whatever the subject material, at hand. And I see firsthand in the Cambodian community, I know you see it every single time. You're only educating the person right in front of you. You're not educating the family members and how, to protect, them, how that this behavior that the other people are doing is affecting the person, who's actually addicting to this thing. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about, but there's more help out there that should be taken seriously, because again, when this thing take control over you, you don't care whether you sleep on the street. You don't care whether you sleep on somebody's staircase or on next to the trash bin and whatnot, because it's not them anymore. And I hope that their family would bring them in and then talk to them and make a home for them so that they can think about home and then not have a home but then choose to be homeless. So
Some people not everybody likes to be homeless, but some people may prefer that only so that they can make their own decisions because they don't want to be told what to do by somebody else.
yes,
And then they have to live with those consequences. People can't afford rent, and no matter what it is that the services that are offered, there still isn't that availability for them to be able to actually live someplace, or there's not enough spaces for that type of what should be defined as really affordable, and not just affordable based upon what the average cost is in the community and you offer something for less. It depends on what the percentage is of what it is that you're offering for less.
I got some texts here. Great show today. Cisco doing another great job filling in. Thanks for everyone for getting up extra early. That's for
That
Bart.
must be Jose.
Yeah, you do a
Someone
great
said-
job. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're never lacking for something to say. That's what I like. No downtime.
How do homeless get money if they don't have an address? They have an EBT card. It's a credit card they walk around with in their pocket that's electronically funded every month. That's how they get it. Why do we think government can solve a homeless problem? It's only becoming worse until the addict wants to get some help. It'll never get solved.
So we need to mediate, if I said the word right, the issues that come to the community by the population, the unhoused population, the homeless. So with that said, where are the bathrooms that were ordered for the homeless situation in this area? Did those stations come in? Do you know anything about that, Sidney?
no,
They had some trailers, right? The bathroom
The
trailers.
neighborhood doesn't want them. So why do you want them here? Let's put them up by your house.
But
No, let's
did
put
they
them up
not
by your
order
house.
those? Didn't the city manager order those?
They should up by your house.
That's not the point.
Yes, it is. I
It
bet you
isn't.
there's no place that'll take them.
Okay, well, that is the point.
The
That they
point,
wouldn't have ordered them if they don't want them.
Yeah, we need to put them out. In
No, we
fact,
don't. We
I
need
don't
to-
need to drive up to
We
the
need
Lord
to arrest these
overpass and watch
people.
somebody.
We need to arrest these people and put them
Relieve
in
themselves.
rehabilitation.
Right, but there's not enough spaces.
You can go to the bathroom and take a bath over there. That's only going to perpetuate the situation.
I
Stop
agree,
this
John.
perpetuating things.
Then, I mean, we know the solution. I just told you the solution. You got to lock people up and you agree. I don't think it's 6 weeks. I think it's years. Someone that's been addicted to drugs for years can't come off drugs in 6 weeks.
6 weeks minimum. The sheriff has 600 jail cells. Let's call the governor, tell the sheriff, Mr. Sheriff, let the homeless move in there, or I'm going to take away some money. Hit him in the wallet. That's the only thing that guy's going to understand.
So there's a couple of things, and it's not to, rain on the parade here, but you have the space, say like, for instance, in the jails, and you have cell space, and people can live there, but they have to have a reason to be there, because legally you can't keep them unless you've
The president
arrested
says,
them or there's something.
Evelyn, there's an executive order. We can keep them. It's an executive order by
You
the
can take
president.
anybody off the street
Who-
and stick
the
them
Demo-
in a building.
who
Is
the
that what you're
Democrats-
saying?
We can't both. Would you repeat that, Evelyn? I was talking. I could not listen to you while I was talking.
So, you're telling me that the government can take anybody off the street and retain them for an unlimited amount of time without any particular reason because they live on the street? Is that illegal to live on the street? Do we have laws? I'm asking, do we have laws that say you can't live on the street?
Are you ready for the answer?
I don't know.
That was a
Depends on the
question.
answer.
That was a question. Are you ready for the answer? Is yes. There's an executive order. You can pick up the homeless and house them elsewhere. It's come right from the White House. But because this is a Democratic state and it was a Republican idea, we're going to ignore this. But it's a fact.
The feds are doing it now with ICE. They're grabbing people off the street. But I think, again, we got to change the strategy. And what's going on now, it's not working. and I think,
Giving them a bath and a place to go pee is not gonna work either.
but at the same time, what do? If you don't do anything,
You
you're
have
gonna
to.
have the issues that we're having now. I mean, you drive up to the Lord overpass and they're doing
That's the
this.
solution.
They're relieving themselves in the middle of the street while you're waiting at a stop sign. I don't need to see that. I don't want to see that.
You guys should try one of these.
I know, I know.
So, what do we have here today?
You have apple cake, and there's,
Make sure you dive in here before you go.
I got craisins in it. Obviously, there's apples in it.
What's a craisin?
Craisin is a dried cranberry, and then there's chopped up walnuts.
Okay, delicious, thank you.
So we're gonna start with crumbs and we're gonna end up with
Well, I usually bake every week, okay, and a lot of times guests don't want to have anything. So if I make, one week I gave him my coconut custard pie. Another week I might do my Swedish apple pie. All right, quiche was another time. I heated it up before I left home. So, and then I just handed it to him with a fork. So but I always used to bring stuff, especially when Bob Hoey was co-host, because he always liked to take it home, so I always brought extra. And that's fine. Today I have a board of directors meeting at Mill Stream on Mill Road in Chelmsford, and so I'm baking for that, because I refuse to buy donuts, because they're not any good for you.
yeah.
Because it's a fried food, even though I love them. That's something I don't eat, generally speaking. Maybe
that's
once every
good.
6 months I might have a donut, and it really tastes good, but that's about is the extent to that. But I always try to bake something, not always from scratch. It depends on my time frame. And I'm always making up something to eat or adding to it, regardless, because I know what the proportions are. So anyway.
And she's a chemist, so she likes mixing stuff.
Oh, yeah, I got knocked for making a comment about being, yeah. Oh, so we know this.
We're almost at the end of the show here. Let's close up with the city council giving us some. What are you doing tonight? Are you participating with the? I just realized it's the bicentennial celebration starting this year. 200 years,
Yes.
not 250, right?
200
200 for
years.
Lowell.
for Lowell.
For Lowell, okay.
Right.
250 for the country.
Yeah.
For the country.
For the country, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, so how is that? We got we have an event tonight, right? And then we're going to have a few events in the city in regards to the.
There's a lot of event that the city managers and his team put together throughout the city. I know that he's reaching out to different community and trying to get them involved as well. There's an ongoing event. Of course, there was a big one, a while back. So follow on the website and and also the social medias for the city. But there's a lot of program, and especially this year there's more. Well, it's very special, and the city manager is reaching out to the community and trying to bring in and blend in some cultural aspect, into different event and activities going on. So. What I want to say most is just get involved, whether it's a little bit, it's your opinion, it's your comment, suggestion. I know people don't have time, but do text, do send email, do, say something on the city website or the city, social media page. Just put your voice out there and, because we can't be silent. Otherwise, we end up, we be more poor in our idea, poor in our money, poor, in where we live. So we need to get involved more. And, this is not just what I'm saying. If I have to say that, I need you. I mean, basically, I need our community to be out there and speak up, because we are really poor right now. Our health is so bad. In our community where we live, we have a lot more houses in a different place, and we are not supposed to be. And you don't come out and say something, you can't say up, after the fact, because then it'll be too late. I cannot help. Nobody can help. The neighbor cannot help. So speak your mind. Say something. I told my daughter yesterday. I said, if something don't feel right, don't do it, or just say it out, because otherwise you can't walk away and then you be like, oh, I didn't know about it. Oh, I should have said something about it. So please get involved. And I know I'm going to continue to say this again and again every single time I'm here or out in the community. get involved. I sat in so many 501c3 nonprofit and also, city board, city commission. For example, since the the immigration commission or other commission, for example, the cultural commission or the community preservation commission. I've sat in a lot of those commission, but we want community members to participate some more, even from your own home with a phone that has a Zoom or a team. Please get involved, because sometimes I say stuff, but it's only me. But if you say stuff with me, then we can do it together. Otherwise, it'll be like, oh, why is Sidney saying that again? Why he's putting that motion? Most of the time, it's the motion from the community. Whether it's one person, two people, it's your idea, and you saying it for the community that you love, it's for the family that you love, it's for that kid right sitting in front of you that say something that make you, make a phone call or text me and just come to City Hall. That's why I want to make City Hall more welcoming. This is your home. You pay taxes every day. Your kid sometimes can't even see you because you're working 2 jobs. City Hall, you cannot be afraid of walking into City Hall and not seeing the picture of your country and not seeing the people that, maybe from your country. That's why I want to see something like that in City Hall. Your culture and everything else need to be blended in City Hall. Help me make that possible. Help the city manager make that possible.
Tomorrow's City Life, we're going to have Cliff Krieger's going to be the host. Eileen Del Rossi's going to be here. City Councilor Belinda Duran will be here. And Regina Fontacanti, she's going to be here. Time is short. Have thanks.
Well, today is my son Philip's birthday. I want to wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Philip.
Happy birthday.
And thank you very much for coming in this
Thank
morning,
you.
both of you. I really appreciate that. I know that things moved quite along, and that we'll see if maybe we can do this another time. It seems as though you're coming on when I have my show, and Sam will be back at some point.
Okay.
And today's supposed to be a warmer day.
Yes.
Most of the snow is gone, and so we're happy about that. And make sure that you're aware of what's going on as far as your line of sight, your stop signs, signals, and try not to pull into space that doesn't fit your vehicle between cars. So thanks very much, and don't forget that Chelmsford also has their election the first Tuesday in April. And we hope that you've enjoyed our show. Don't forget, you can always text.
And make sure you look at the city website for some of the activities that are happening as we celebrate our bicentennial year here in Lowell.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.